Hello, I'm Bryan Moore, Newport News Shipbuilding's Director of Communications. I'm here with President Jennifer Boykin and Dr. Steve Apostoles, the Medical Director at our clinic. We're here to talk about the coronavirus and what's going on at the shipyard. The shipbuilders have a lot of questions. Obviously, the health and safety of our shipbuilders is of the utmost importance. So what are we doing right now to start containing this and talk about this?
Let me just start by saying how fortunate we are to have Doc Steve on staff. Steve's been here for almost 20 years. He knows shipbuilding, he knows our company, he knows our leaders, and also Steve is very well connected into the medical community in Hampton Road. So it's times like these that you're really thankful for the talent that you have on the team, and Doc Steve is key right now. We've actually started, the leadership team has started having once, twice day meetings to prepare for this earlier last week. We have worked, a lot of people who are key in the decision making have put in a lot of hard work to make sure that we are as prepared as we can be, given the fact that, as you know, I mean, we're getting more and more information every day. A lot of it out there is conflicting or confusing, and we're doing everything we can to simplify that and to communicate what we are doing. And at the core of that really is following the guidance of the CDC and also the Health Department of the state of Virginia to make sure that we are helping to slow the spread of the virus and to keep our people safe and protected and to provide the information that's useful and helpful for both at work and in our private lives.
So talk about that. So following CDC recommendations, we have a clinic. People may not even understand that we have a shipyard doctor in a clinic.
Yeah, we actually have a very robust clinic, Bryan. We have myself, two other physicians, a physician assistant, and we have 9 nurses and then a medical record staff. We have about 30 folks that work in the clinic on a daily basis, and all of the people have vast experience in occupational medicine, and we're prepared to meet this challenge.
Okay, so that's good to know. It's reassuring. So what we did is we've taken questions from our shipbuilders, from our Facebook, our social media, Jennifer Boykin's Facebook page. We've also gone into the yard with a camera, and we've asked some shipbuilders to ask us some questions on camera. So what we want to do is kind of get into that right now, and we can go right now to our first question here on camera.
I just wanted to know, like, even if someone was to test positive, would they take the proper procedures as far as letting us know or letting us get tested to make sure that we're not coming in here, you know, making everybody else sick?
Are we thinking quarantining or, something along them lines to prevent the future spread of it?
The way we're preparing for that is to think about it not if, but when. We don't know that, and we certainly hope that doesn't happen, but we're preparing for it as if it would. We have developed over the last week a series of protocols that help make sure that we're protecting our workforce first, that we're protecting the plant second, and ultimately helping people and the level of anxiety that's around this situation. And so, and we're trying to get information out to every supervisor that, if you get a call that says from an employee saying that they have or they think they have the coronavirus, you should definitely call the clinic, call Doc Steve and the staff that he talked about. Again, we have protocols in place for what to do to protect the employees, to protect the plant, to clean the area, to isolate. We're identifying what areas we can move employees to, if they have to move away from their area while it's getting cleaned, and while we make a determination, so that the people that want to work and are healthy to work can continue to work, and the people who are at risk are safe.
All right, so let's take a question, Jennifer, from your Facebook page.
Okay.
So if we do get sick and we are out for over 14 days, will we still have jobs to come back to?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we've instituted liberal leave because there are a number of our shipbuilders who are very clear in their communication that they're healthy and they want to come to work. They want to continue working. Most of our production work is in outdoor and ventilated areas, and we are being very aggressive on cleaning and following social distancing advice of 3 to 6 feet apart. So obviously, we're going to continue to work on the production work that's so critical to the Navy, as you know, and do everything we can to keep the environments safe. But absolutely, there is no shipbuilder that should be concerned about their job if they're out for an illness, whether they're out for 2 days, 14 days, or longer. They are absolutely going to have a job to come back to, and we want them to take care of themselves and their family, and then we will welcome them back to work.
And so you hear about close proximity, and a lot of people in the shipyard feel like they are working in close proximity to people, and they don't like that idea. So what can we do, or what are we telling our shipbuilders from that standpoint?
The CDC guidelines try to recommend that you have social isolation as much as possible, and what that really means is to try to be 3 to 6 feet apart from an individual. Avoid stuff like shaking hands and hugs and stuff like that. But as you can see, we're mimicking CDC regulations now. We're 5 feet apart, so that's one of the things that we're recommending. The other thing I wanted to bring out is that if people are immunocompromised in any way, we have some renal transplant patients, we have people on immunosuppressive drugs, we have cancer patients. We're encouraging those patients to work from home if that's a possibility, and if not, please follow the social distancing rules.
All right, so we have another question on the video monitor here.
I would like to know, as far as the young people that work here, they have little children that goes to grade school, and a lot of the schools are out for the next 2 weeks. And they gave us a chance to have liberal leave for the next 2 days, maybe a week. I'm not sure yet, but that's in the making. And these people don't have any leave time because a lot of them are new into the company, and they have children, little small children, and having somebody to take care of them, they don't always have that.
It's certainly not just young people. I mean, all of us have family members that require, us taking care of them at different times in our life. So I do appreciate that question. I will tell you that that was the first reason that we went to liberal leave for the week, because we recognize with schools closed and just, different businesses and everything closing, we really are in unprecedented times. So in addition to instituting liberal leave, we put out the policy to try to maximize work from home where it's applicable. And obviously in our shipbuilding production environment, that's not an option for everyone, and we understand that. And so the third thing we're really trying to do is make sure that for those unique cases, they're talking to your supervisor and see what we can do to put as much flexibility into each individual case in the work situation that we can. Generally speaking, there are 3 modes of operation at the shipyard. We're either open, we've instituted liberal leave, or we've closed the shipyard. And we haven't closed the shipyard since Hurricane Isabel in 2003. And again, I hear from a lot of employees that we don't want to close the shipyard. None of us want to close the shipyard. We do want to keep everybody safe. So we're continuing to look at different options and different modes of operation that allow us to strike the best balance to have our mission critical, delivering freedom work continue while we are keeping everyone safe.
And so, at this time of year, it's springtime, pollen's in the air, people are not, feeling very well, some of us with allergies and that sort of thing. So we have another Facebook question asking about who evaluates if I'm sick or not. My boss, I'm not sure that he or she would be qualified for that. So, Doctor, how do you answer that?
I would tend to agree with the question. Probably your supervision shouldn't be making those decisions. We've set up a hotline at the clinic that a doctor and a nurse are staffing, and we can help you answer those questions. Generally, what we're asking people to do, if they have a fever over 100.4, a cough or respiratory symptoms, to not go to work and to speak to their local physician and find out what the physician thinks that they should do. Now, it potentially would be harder and harder to get into your physician, so remember we do have the teledoc benefit, and I really encourage people to take advantage of that. So we also work very closely with the local health departments, and my staff and I are very familiar and have great working relationships with all the local emergency rooms. So we are speaking to them 2 or 3 times daily, and we are doing our best to follow their protocols. Essentially, what they're saying, unless you're very, very ill, they want you to self-quarantine for 14 days, and we encourage people to follow through with that. And Jennifer and the senior staff have made decisions based on those recommendations, which are in line with the CDC.
All right. So our shipbuilders are resourceful. They've got great ideas. We're seeing them on social media. One of them talks about maybe we should have shutdown now, or a holiday, end of year, Christmas time shutdown. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, my initial thought is it's too early to make a decision like that. We are, while at the same time recognizing that the situation changes, we are talking all the time with the organizations that can give us advance information about what's happening and what we should expect. And what I want the shipbuilders to know is that, you know, we are working really around the clock to understand what is coming our way, what's known, and to make decisions that are best for the employees as well as for the business. So as this unfolds, and I worry a bit about making decisions or answering questions that are hypothetical because it's just unlimited. The hypothetical situations in this case just feel unlimited. So we're trying to really be timely and make decisions based on what we know today, and we will continue to do that. So it's too early to talk about what we would do for the latter part of the year, and it's too early today, right now, as we're talking, to make any decision about shutting the shipyard down. We're not at that point. I am very hopeful that we won't get to that point, but we're going to protect our people and continue the business in a safe way.
All right. Thank you both for being here. We're going to continue to monitor this. We're going to continue to answer shipbuilders' questions. So more to come, but thanks so much.
Okay.
Please keep up to date through our various communication channels. We've established an external website with the very latest information. It's there on your screen. Also by phone for updates regarding shipyard operations, that number 1-877-871-2058. Also, make sure you download our app, NNS to Go. Thanks so much. I'm Bryan Moore.